news tonight.
The total number of confirmed cases stand at 109.
6 school children in 3 schools in Kampala have tested positive for Ebola, according to the Health Minister Ruth Acheng.
Support free education.
President Museveni has asked women elites in Africa to support universal education, which will improve women's incomes and livelihoods.
And the NUP should be applauded for offering leadership.
Also tonight, members of parliament who subscribe to the National Unity Platform mobilize more money to repatriate Ugandans stranded in the United Arab Emirates. And in sports, the Ugandan netball national team, the She Cranes, have joined camp in Kamocha to prepare for the first 5 World Series netball tournament. A very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us this Wednesday evening on a PM edition. My name is Bernadetta Pio. On sign language is Isaac Luchamozi. Thank you so much for having us on. In our top story tonight, President Museveni has asked women elites in Africa to support and enhance universal education, which will improve women's incomes and way of living. Museveni was speaking at the 17th International Association of Women's Judges Conference Africa region in Munyonyo, Kampala. Flavia Ninkuze starts us off.
Over 100 women judges from 13 African countries are attending the Women Judges Conference to share ideas on how to deliver justice on various issues such as gender-based violence, youth justice, judicial leadership, among others. The conference, intended to break barriers to equal justice and strengthening institutions, was opened by President Museveni. Museveni says there is need for women across Africa to support and enhance universal education so as to enhance productivity in society.
I had introduced in 1997, almost a quarter century ago, free education. Banish school charges in schools so that the children study free in the government schools. But you hear some of the head teachers bring back the cost, then the school drop out, children drop out of school. Then, So you, the movement of women, support free education so that that path of transformation through education is not interfered with. I'm struggling with the local parasites. These head teachers are local parasites. They look at children as a source of money instead of implementing our policy of free education. Money. They're always bringing money.
Museveni says there is need for Africans to integrate economically, socially, politically to achieve prosperity. Chief Justice Alfonso Owunyidolo says the Conference of Women Judges is timely since Africa is facing surge of gender-based violence and human trafficking cases.
A number of cases are cause listed and dismissed for want of prosecution, while a few others cannot be proved because the key witnesses are reluctant to open up and tell the court the unfortunate tale leading to the crime.
Women judges are encouraged to believe in themselves on matters of leadership since the norm of men's dominancy in leadership was broken decades ago.
We must always remember that we grow when we lift other women up, especially when women are in leadership. Contrary to the popular belief, there is space for all of us at the top because we have different contributions, we have different strengths, and we have different aspirations.
Several dignitaries are attending the meeting. Flavia Ninkuze for CTV, PM Edition.
In the beginning, I said...
Thank you, Flavia, for starting us off tonight. Now, Ebola cases continue to rise. 6 school children from different schools in Kampala have tested positive for the virus. Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, the health minister, confirmed the new cases today. The new cases mark a serious escalation of the outbreak that was declared just over a month ago.
So this literally tells you about.
The children who attend 3 different schools in Kampala are among at least 15 people in the city who have been confirmed to have Ebola. The 3 children include a primary 7 candidate who is receiving treatment.
I feel for the parents and I feel for the P7 candidate. We have discussed this case and we all agreed that he is eligible to the trial drugs, the monoclonal antibodies, and the remdesivir. Today I have been informed that all his signs and symptoms have gone down. And I am hoping and praying that by Saturday, if he turns negative, he will be discharged. So I request all of you to join me in that prayer so that this young candidate can sit his exams. But again, this is very important and it is a lesson to all of us. If you have had contact with anybody coming from the 2 districts of Mubende and Kasanda, please protect your family.
Acheng says that the government has prepared more locations that will be used as quarantine centers for suspected Ebola patients.
The Ministry of Health, with support from partners, is setting up an additional treatment facility in Mulago Sports Field. This 64-bed facility will be built in 2 phases over a period of 4 weeks.
Ebola, which manifests as a viral hemorrhagic fever, has infected 109 people and killed 30 since 20th September, when the outbreak was declared in Mubende and Kasanda. Among the dead are health workers.
Among the confirmed cases have also been health workers. To date, 15 health workers have been infected, of whom 6 have succumbed to the infection.
Although the disease has no drug or vaccine so far, Acheng says they are introducing new trial vaccines.
The Ministry of Health will be evaluating the efficacy of 3 candidate Ebola Sudan vaccines on contacts in the coming weeks. The candidate vaccines are Oxford from the United Kingdom, Sabin from the United States of America, and Merck from the United States of America. The main objective is to evaluate their efficacy to protect primary contacts of Ebola patients within 29 days of contact. We plan to vaccinate contacts of 150 confirmed cases. This means about 3,000 initially. The trial preparation has been concluded, and we estimate that we may begin the trial in 2 weeks' time.
Ebola is spread by contact with bodily fluids of an infected person or contaminated materials. Symptoms include fever, vomiting, diarrhea, muscle pain, and at times internal bleeding. Ibrahim Kasinga for CTV PM Edition.
Prime Minister Robina Nabanja has asked medical workers at the Uganda Cancer Institute to focus on preventing the disease because the number of cancer patients at the institute is overwhelming. The World Health Organization estimates that between 30 to 50% of all cancers are avoidable. Take a listen.
Nabanja made an on-spot check on the operations of the Uganda Cancer Institute after reports of growing numbers of cancer patients at the institute. Cancer is a disease in which abnormal cells divide uncontrollably and destroy body tissue. While interacting with Dr. Jackson Orem, the executive director of Mulago, and other top management officials, Nabanja wondered why the institute does not emphasize the prevention of cancer rather than treatment.
We are now facing a backlog of cases, and we must deal with that backlog before we even think of prevention.
If you don't think of prevention, then you will be with backlog also.
So one of the things that we are doing right now, Honorable Prime Minister.
Nabanja says the cancer problem is bigger than even some outbreaks like Ebola, because it affects the performance of the citizens who spend most of their time in hospital.
Than sure, You have seen the numbers of people here. All of them desperate. Others being treated by those big machines. It's not easy to endure that pain. So it's better we use preventive approach than waiting for people to come here when they are desperately sick.
Nabanja commended health workers at the Institute for their commitment to serve the nation, despite the numerous challenges they go through.
Professors, my brother Patrick, Oriem, I want to thank you as an executive director of this institute that you have tried, you have level best. But the numbers are overwhelming. And I believe you have tried because we have seen those that got treated and are still living since 2000. But I want to say we need to have another approach as government.
She says government will work with the Cancer Institute to ensure that drugs and other forms of treatment are available at the facility.
We are here as government to see how best we can treat cancer, and two, how best we can expand this facility, and four, how can we prevent cancer? How?
Based on the current cancer incidence, cancer in Uganda can be prevented by modifying risk factors. Some of the risk factors include old age, personal or family history of cancer, using tobacco, obesity, alcohol, some types of viral infections, such as human papillomavirus, specific chemicals, and exposure to radiation, including ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Hope Nyongereza, CTV, PM edition.
Thank you, Hope. Moving on to agricultural matters, government has been challenged to review the approval of agroecological chemical boosters, saying that they are against the level of growth for local animal and plant breeds. The Minister of State for Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Ntabazi Harriet, says the enhanced growth of some breeds is not healthy to consumers.
And banana.
Pelham Uganda, in collaboration with the Netherlands Food Partnership, organized the first agroecological market system expo, which is multi-sectoral and multi-value chain. Key actors within the agroecological value chain and food system was intended to scale up agroecological entrepreneurship and territorial market development.
Are you in the market? I just see the barcode.
According to Ntabazi, government through the National Agriculture Research Organization is plotting to retard the growth rate of some agro products to protect the population from consuming premature agro products.
If you look at the dollars that the organic production is bringing in Uganda, we are now approximately in the value chain of agricultural exports. We moved from 17.1% to 291 million per annum starting from this financial year. So we have moved, I don't know how many, I don't know which, it's not even twice, it's not doubled, it's more than doubles and tripled. We've gone high.
Pelham Country Coordinator Josephine Akialimba says this agroecological market system expo is intended to empower farmers with scientific ecology skills to cultivate natural organic products and value addition.
To provide a platform for networking, a platform for sharing knowledge, a platform to see how we can tap into the different agroecological markets.
Farmers pointed out what is needed for the best agroecological farming.
Call upon the government to come and help us more so when it comes to certification and also business registration, at least to minimize the prices that we're supposed to pay so that they make it a bit conducive for everyone.
We want to find a fair pay for farmers and also make sure that they can easily add the value onto their products and bring them to the market. Because if they earn, then they will be able to work more and then be able to bring these to the consumers. And also, we need to protect the environment.
Shomim Natebo Wetendo, CTV, PM edition.
The first agroecological market system expo.
That story takes us in for a short break. More when we return.
Do you love me?
Very much.
I'll catch you one day. Pants down.
I want to spoil you. I want you to eat my money.
She believes I'm in love with her guy. Hugo? If I had to live everywhere I'm not loved, where would I end up? The dirty guy hides in the hospital for 40 years, but at night, he walks the streets, commits crimes, and then he comes back and pretends to be for life again.
I will break you, Spooky.
Do not answer any question about Roho kwa Roho. You're so blind!
Now showing on CTV. Don't blink.
Hits it in the air. Will that be set? He's done it! What a magnificent performance!
Recharge your day with Sting. Extreme energy, refreshing taste, available countrywide. Sting, live switched on, from the makers of Pepsi.
CTV is now on StarTimes. You can now catch all your favorite programs, our daily comprehensive news bulletins, and so much more on StarTimes channel number 248. Stay tuned for a world of endless possibilities. CTV. Don't blink.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching a PM edition. Continuing with the news, the Minister of State for Labour, Employment and Industrial Relations, Colonel Charles Okello Engola, says they are focused on improving the rights of Ugandans who travel to the Middle East for casual labour. The move follows rampant distress calls made by the stranded Ugandans in United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. Currently, there are about 100,000 Ugandans in the United Arab Emirates. We have more.
The externalization of labor program is seen as an avenue to end human trafficking through the creation of a safe, formal, and regular pathway for Ugandans who choose to seek employment abroad. Ugandans have taken advantage of the provisions to find jobs abroad. Between 2016 and 2021, licensed companies deployed 20,637 workers abroad. The Minister of State for Labour, Employment and Industrial Relations, Colonel Charles Okello, highlights some of the notable benefits of the externalization of labour.
Migrants return with new skills and contribute to human capital development of the country. Additionally, the program is contributing to non-tax revenue. Our Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development collected up to a tune of 11.9 billion in non-tax revenue occurring from job orders.
On the other hand, there have been challenges in the Labour Ministry.
Due to inadequate information about formal channels of getting employment abroad, many youth are lured by human traffickers. The traffickers, through false representations, deploy workers into unknown destinations with hostile working conditions.
Many of these Ugandan nationals who are stranded and detained in the UAE actually lacked their passports because the companies which repatriate them, or the companies which externalize them for labor, when they reach UAE, many of their travel documents are confiscated.
Exploitation of Ugandan migrant workers by illegal Ugandan recruiters who are resident in host countries through false promises for better pay.
Meanwhile, some measures have been taken to overcome the challenges.
developing an online mobile application for monitoring migrant workers abroad. The online system will be linked to a 24-hour call center to promptly respond to distress calls. We shall deploy labor touches to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and United Arab Emirates, and also engage local Arabic-speaking staff to be deployed in the different states as part of the monitoring mechanism.
I've appreciated the United Arab Emirates for buying these many hundreds of Ugandan nationals return tickets from United Arab Emirates. However, I've also extended our request that the government of United Arab Emirates accord us an additional period, extension of the waiver period, because when it was announced, many of our nationals, especially males, never turned in themselves to prison authorities.
Zake Chibedi, the ambassador of Uganda to United Arab Emirates, says people should handle the issue of Ugandans stranded in UAE diplomatically to avoid jeopardizing Ugandans living in United Arab Emirates legally.
Our prayer is that we handle this issue of Ugandans stranded in the United Arab Emirates diplomatically to avoid jeopardizing the future of those 95% Ugandans who are there legally. This is because 95% of these Ugandans that are having professional, technical, and skilled jobs have immensely contributed to the economy of Uganda.
However, the Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs, Muwada Nkunyenje, says government did not care about Ugandans who have been stranded in UAE for years until when the leadership of National Unity Platform started repatriating Ugandans.
The one batch has been repatriated by the National Unity Platform, and there's so many volunteers who adhere to the call of NUP. And then the other batch, Baruke batch, has been purely and only repatriated by the government of United Arab Emirates. They bought for them tickets in addition to the waiver granted to Ugandan nationals and Africans by the government of United Arab Emirates.
On Sunday, 23rd October 2022, majority of the Ugandans that were still at Al-Wil immigration camp had been repatriated aboard Fly Dubai and Air Arabia, and the last batch arrived on Monday this week, October 24th, 2022. As we talk now, there is no Ugandan who is still stranded at Al-Wil deportation camp.
Ugandan casual laborers mainly go to Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, and Afghanistan, which was stopped in 2021 following the withdrawal of the American troops. Saudi Arabia takes over 60% of migrant workers and 80% of those are domestic workers. Tony Patila Humza, CTV, PM Edition.
Relatedly, opposition members of parliament who subscribe to the National Unity Platform have handed over 34 million Ugandan shillings to the party's Secretary General that will be used to repatriate Ugandans who are still stranded in the United Arab Emirates. They join NUP and other well-wishers who have contributed to the cause. 72 people have so far been repatriated in a campaign that was launched about a month ago.
The 72 Ugandans are part of the estimated 3,000 Ugandans who are stuck in the United Arab Emirates. The majority are believed to be in various prisons in the United Arab Emirates. It's said that most of them have no proper documentation to live and stay in the UAE. Over time, many Ugandans have cried out for help, especially via social media, alleging mistreatment by their bosses.
Bakama bange baganye okuntwala mu ddwaliro. Bwe naddukira ku poliisi bajja ne banziggyayo nabasaba ssente zange ne banzikakkanako ne bankuba.
NUP has since launched a campaign aimed at returning them home. The campaign comes at a time the UAE has given a waiver to have all stranded Ugandans repatriated. Over 170 Ugandans have since been returned.
Invited our Party Secretary General to receive this very humble contribution from members of Parliament to return these citizens to make a contribution. The last time we checked with the UAE authorities, there were more than 3,000 stranded Ugandans in various jails. And when I saw one of the regime ministers just stamping that they returned 100, probably she's a jail candidate as well, because there are simply so many citizens stranded, and the NUP should be applauded for offering leadership to this call of citizens.
Mpuga says NUP should be applauded for driving the campaign, saying the government had neglected the suffering Ugandans. NUP MPs have contributed 34 million Ugandan shillings for the cause. NUP Secretary General Lewis Rubongoya says the party is ready to intervene in causes that benefit Ugandans irrespective of the political beliefs, because the ruling NRM, which is supposed to do such work, does not care.
The time we started this effort, we have been able to return 72 Ugandans to the country. These include people who we have received at the Secretariat, but also those who have come in stealthily for fear of being abducted from the airport. You've been seeing what has been happening. Whenever these people come, they reach the airport and they're immediately hijacked by security operatives who warn them not to even be seen anywhere near NUP. It's a very big shame that the regime is waking up, following the pressure we've put. You remember when Honorable Muwada went there around August and raised the issue in Parliament, they continued to ignore it until recently when our president decided to do a concert. It was blocked, and now the effort started in earnest to see that these people are returned home.
He says it's a pity to witness government officials and security operatives who are trying to block NUP from executing such a noble cause.
Framework of humanity, and it's beyond politics and partisanship. When we are returning these citizens in the way they return, we do not ask for their party cards. We actually do not know who their mothers and fathers are. They are simply Ugandans stranded. And we are here to call for a sense of duty and responsibility on the part of an entity calling itself a government to go out of their way, stop their inept conduct, and go and do whatever is feasible to return all the young people home. Remember, we're talking about young people, energetic citizens, capable of making a contribution to the growth and development of Uganda.
He says government's failure to help stranded Ugandans in foreign countries exposes its failure to create jobs for Ugandans who leave universities and colleges every year. It's not clear as to how much the party intends to collect to have stranded Ugandans repatriated. So far, 80 million shillings has been collected. Sarah Nakandi, CTV, PM Edition.
In news from the region, rebels from the Tigray region and the Ethiopian government have resumed their talks in South Africa to find a peaceful and lasting solution to the conflict that has been ravaging northern Ethiopia for nearly 2 years, while thunderstorms and hailstorms hit large parts of Greater Cairo, including the Egyptian capital. Talks under the guidance of the African Union began Tuesday in Pretoria, according to the South African presidency, specifying that they should continue until Sunday. On Wednesday morning, several participants, including former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo and former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta, were seen by reporters entering the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the resumption of the talks. No information has been released about the content of the talks, and the media is being kept at a distance. The AU Commission chairperson, Musa Faki, had welcomed on Tuesday these efforts to silence the weapons towards a united, stable, peaceful and resilient Ethiopia. The meeting in Pretoria is the first public dialogue between the two sides. According to a Western official, previous secret contacts organized by the United States took place in the Seychelles and twice in Djibouti. The war began in November 2020 when Abiy sent the army into Tigray to dislodge regional authorities from the Tigray People's Liberation Front, which challenged his authority and which he accused of attacking military bases. Heavy thunder showers and hailstorms hit large parts of Greater Cairo, including the Egyptian capital, as well as several provinces. As a result, streets were flooded and traffic disrupted. When the densely populated capital is used to more than 200 days of sunshine a year, the Egyptian Meteorological Authority issued a warning of unstable weather conditions nationwide, according to local media. State media, Ahram, cited the Egyptian Ministry of Irrigation, which said it was ready to deal with the heavy rain. The number of weather, climate and water-related disasters increased by a factor of 5 over the past 50 years, a recent multi-agency report revealed. Sub-Saharan Africa has been particularly affected. Countries including South Sudan, Chad, Cameroon or Nigeria are experiencing worst floods in decades. On the international scene, the Chinese government has been accused of establishing at least 2 undeclared police stations in the Netherlands. Dutch media found evidence that the overseas service stations, which promise to provide diplomatic services, are being used to try to silence Chinese dissidents in Europe. Here is more. A spokeswoman for the Dutch Foreign Ministry said the existence of the unofficial police outpost was illegal. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has rejected the Dutch allegations. The investigation was sparked by a report entitled "Chinese Transnational Policing Gone Wild" by the Spain-based NGO Safeguard Defenders. According to the organization, the public security bureaus from 2 Chinese provinces had established 54 overseas police service centers across 5 continents and 21 countries. Most of them are in Europe, including 9 in Spain and 4 in Italy. In the UK, it found 2 in London and 1 in Glasgow. The units were ostensibly created to tackle transnational crime and conduct administrative duties, such as the renewal of Chinese driver's licenses, but according to the Safeguard Defenders, in reality, they carry out persuasion operations aimed at coercing those suspected of speaking out against the Chinese regime to return home. Services such as passport renewals or visa requests are usually handled by an embassy or consulate. Diplomatic rules apply in these locations as laid out in the Vienna Convention, of which both the Netherlands and China are signatories. The pressure is now on the Dutch government to ensure critics of the Chinese government who are granted asylum can be protected and that in Netherlands, Dutch laws prevails. PM Edition takes another short break. Stay with us. Sports is up next.
The big debate is back. Bigger, bolder, reloaded. Whether it is securing your future, holding fast to the people power, or the promise of a one Uganda, one thing is certain, the big debate is on.
So why don't you respect the memories of doctors on this?
We have already addressed the issue of increment.
How many people have ever been convicted?
It's the way the politics plays in cabinet.
So now why are they asking for the statement?
Follow mainstream conversations on current affairs and leading policy debates in Uganda.
It is in our interest to handle arrested people very nicely.
Right here on The Big Debate.
Let me finalize.
We have all gone to
I was
school.
wet. I was wet.
It's a hard-hitting talk show on development issues in the political and social-economic arena. Discussions that inform policy and trigger high-level dialogue. Now showing on CTV. Don't blink.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. The Uganda netball national team, the She Cranes, have joined camp in Kamocha to prepare for the first 5 World Series netball tournament. It is set to start on November the 4th in New Zealand as the She Cranes continue to prepare for next year's World Cup.
Today what we started with was first of all to go through the rules of First 5, more especially the substitutions and where the areas of the shooting, because it is not unlike the normal netball. Here we have where we score 1 goal, 2 goals and 3 goals. So today what we put on our emphasis was on the 2 goals shots, where we are supposed to be getting 2 goals, and also the center passes. We are supposed to take the center pass after the goal has been scored. We have also gone through that, and today in the evening we are very much concentrating on the 2 goal shots, which I think can give us a very good challenge to those people when we meet them. And our training that started today is going to last for about 5 days. That is up to Saturday. That's when we are going to stop our training, and then maybe on Sunday we travel. Yeah, what we have been working on, all what we are going to work on during these few days is to see that we score more goals. And we want those accuracy of our shooters, so that when we go there, we put up a very good challenge. Because I tried to watch some of the past games that were being played by those big countries, and the way I saw it is as if we can penetrate them. And if you put up the challenge that we normally put in the normal netball, I think we are going to disappoint some teams when we reach there.
That story winds up a PM edition tonight. But before I sign out, Gabriel Iguma is back already in the other studio, ready to take on the big debate. Gabriel, good evening. It is good to see you.
Good evening, and it's good to see you. It's good to be back.
Yes, we have missed you around here. We heard you were sipping on some mojitos somewhere out there. But tell us, what are you discussing tonight?
Well, I'm sure the viewers have already heard about the story of, how we sadly lost some pupils in a school in Mukono due to a fire. That definitely forms the debate tonight.
It was quite tragic. Another huge announcement made today by the Minister of Health. Ebola is in schools. What lessons can we take from the COVID situation and with this Ebola now in schools?
I really hope that we took lessons from COVID-19, because before the schools even got that figured out, now there is Ebola. The guests that we have tonight will hopefully give us some insights into what needs to be done.
Well, an interesting topic. I'll leave you to that. Well, you heard it. You can join Gabriel not only here but also on social media. Join the conversation. Use the hashtag CTV Big Debate. Coming up right after the news. From me, Bernadette Pio and Isaac Luchamuzi on Sign Language. It is good night.